Now it's time to create the control panel for our application. First of all, we need to create a new folder inside of the root directory of our website. So new folder, and we're going to give it a name admin. Inside of this folder, we need to create a new folder called templates, or rather than creating the new folder, let's just copy the one we have on the front end. Just copy and paste it to admin. We will also need index, so if we copy and paste index into the admin, now open index.php, and the one thing we have to change is basically to go out from this folder and then /, so basically 2 dots / before inc. Now we can close the file. Let's also create another folder called pages, and inside of this pages folder, let's create the file called index.php. Now if we save everything and go back to our browser, after our domain name, let's type admin, and you can see we see the blank page, and this is because this page index inside of the pages folder doesn't contain anything. If we type just a few characters, save it, come back to our admin section, you can see that it's displaying actually them here, so it's populating this page. That's all fine. So now obviously we need to first require once, same way as before, underscore header.php, and we also need the footer.php. The first page will obviously be the login page, so h1 login, and that should do for now. So if we save and close this file, close the pages folder, go to our template folder and open header.php. We need to change a few things here. First of all, we need to remove this entire PHP block from before the doc type definition. Then if we scroll down a little bit, the link in the logo will go to admin / page equals products. So it's basically going to redirect us. If we click on the logo, it's going to redirect us to the products page. And we can remove this business name here and simply put content management system. Okay, that's all fine. Now the next thing, now we are checking for the login, not front, but admin. So we need to change this property here. If is logged, login admin, then logged in as we have get full name. Again, here we have to pass login admin. Then we have our logout button, and that's the only one which we're going to have here actually. So we can remove this echo my orders. We have logout, but logout has to go to /admin / page logout, because we need to log out from the admin section, the user basically. And then obviously if someone's clicking on the login page, then we can remove this and simply redirect them to admin /. So that's all fine. If we now scroll down to the left column section, and this is where we're going to start working in the next video. Now it's time to take care of the navigation on the left hand side. First of all, we obviously don't need this basket left, because we're not going to be displaying any basket in the control panel. Now if empty cards, we can also remove this, and obviously remove this closing one here. For each, we won't be using for each loop here either, so we can remove this one. We will be using, however, li tags, but without any PHP around them, so we can actually remove all this. Okay, let's remove, actually, do you know what, let's remove the entire thing, and we're gonna create these links again. That's gonna be easier. So after the left, div id left, if I create a few new lines so that it goes up here, div id left, after this one we're going to first check if login is logged, and then we take login admin. Basically, we're checking if the administrator has logged in. Then we're going to display this navigation. Else, otherwise, let's just display the placeholder, so non-breakable space. Okay, now this navigation on the left hand side. Before we go into creating the links, let's first change the heading to navigation, and after this navigation heading we can also put div with the class dev br top dashed, and again non-breakable space. Now it's time for the navigation, so we start with li href /admin / page equals products. Then on a new line, we start here, PHP echo helper get active, and we pass in an array here, which will be array page, and we want this page to have products assigned to it, and then semicolon and closing PHP tag. And after this, so let's close the opening A tag as well, and products, and then we closing A tag and closing li tag. So that's our, actually I had this closing li tag here, so that's fine. Let's put it like that. That's a little bit more readable. So that's our first link to the products page. Then we copy the entire thing, paste it underneath. This time we're going to, after products, we're going to have categories. So obviously this time page equals categories, and here we're going to have categories as a label as well. Copy the whole thing. After categories we'll have orders. We have to replace it here in the array and as a label. Copy the entire thing again. Then we're going to have clients. Same thing here and down here. Copy it. And after clients, we're going to have business profile. So basically, business. Okay, so now that's everything actually in terms of a structure. So if we save the file, go back to our admin section, now refresh, you can see, hold on, if we refresh it, we can still see the basket, and the reason why we can see the basket is because we are linking to the wrong header and footer. Because if we go back to our index page inside of the pages folder, I just require once directly the header.php, which basically goes to this template folder. So what we need to do is to put template before this and then /. So if we copy this thing, and for the footer as well, now go back and refresh, and you can see we can't see the navigation on the left hand side because obviously we are not logged in as administrator. We can only see the login screen and the login link, which redirects us basically to the login string, to the login page of the content management system. So let's move to the next video. Now let's continue with our login page. So after our heading, let's start with the form. Action will be blank. Method will be post. Okay, now we have table with the cell padding 0, cell spacing 0, border 0, and class table tbl underscore insert. Okay, I'm going to close the browser. Okay, we start with the tr. First table row, we start with the heading th label 4. We have login underscore email, and it's going to be login in between. Then we have td. We start with PHP echo object validate, and we're going to validate login. We haven't got obviously this class instantiated yet, but let's put it straight away because we're going to obviously do it in the following video. So rather than coming back to the form, let's do it straight away. Input type will be text. Now name, login, email. Then we have ID, the same, login, email. Then we have class, FLD, value will be blank, and we close our input field. Now if we copy the entire thing, scroll down a little bit, paste it underneath, then this one will be password, and it's going to be login password, the same for name and for ID, and obviously for validate as well. And then we have password type of the input field. Actually, for password, we're not going to have validate, sorry, so we need to remove this one, actually. And after this one, if we create another table row, tr, and then I'm going to create a few new lines again, just to make sure they can see a little bit better. And here we're going to have a button, so non-breakable space, and td, label for btn underscore login, class sbm underscore blue, fl, l for floating left, and between the label tags, input type submit, id btn underscore login, class btn, and value login, and then / and closing input tag. And that's everything when it comes to the form itself. Let's move to the next video and actually start coding this page. Before I require ones, let's create a few new lines and start with if login is logged, and now login admin. In other words, if administrator has already logged in, then helper redirect. I want him to be redirected to login dashboard admin. As you may remember, inside of the login class we have dashboard admin property, which stores the URL to the page which administrator should be redirected after the login. So basically, if by any chance he's going to end up on the login screen, he should be or she should be redirected automatically to the dashboard page. Then we start with object form equals new form. Then we have object valid equals new validation, and we pass object form as parameter. After this, we start with our login form basically. So if object form is post, and we're looking for login email, so if our form has been submitted, then object admin equals new admin. This class doesn't exist yet. We're going to work on it in just a second. And now we check if object admin is user, then object form as first parameter get post login underscore email. Then we have object form get post, and this time we're looking for login underscore password. So if the user has been found, then we go into login admin, and object admin, we pass in the ID of the user, which will be basically assigned to this property, and then URL get referrer URL. Okay, else object valid add to errors login. In other words, obviously the user has not been found, user with these credentials has not been found, then obviously we need to display some validation message. So now if we open our validation class just to check if we have this specific index with the message already, we have login. So yes, username and or password were incorrect. So we are okay with this. So we can close the browser. In the next video, we're going to have a look at our admin class. Okay, so now it's time to create our admin class. So open a browser, and inside of the classes, let's create a new file, call it admin.php. Inside of this file, we start with opening PHP tag, then class admin extends application. It's going to be very similar class to our user class. So if we start with private underscore table, and we're going to be looking at admins table, then we have public underscore ID, and right after we're going to start with public function is user. We're going to pass two parameters, email by default null and password also null by default. Now we check if isn't empty email, let's scroll up, and isn't empty password, then we first of all we need to hash our password. So password equals login string to hash and our password. So it's ready to compare actually with the SQL statement. And SQL equals select all from this underscore table where email equals single quote and concatenation this db escape, and we put email single quote and we continue, and password equals single quote dot this db escape and our password single quote and semicolon after double quotes. Then we have result equals this db fetch 1 and SQL as parameter, and then if isn't empty result, if we scroll up, if isn't empty result, then we want this underscore ID equal result ID, else, actually we don't need this else, we also need to obviously return true here, otherwise return false. So that's our isUser method done now. So if we go back to our index.php, that all should be fine. We obviously need to have a look at our login admin method, and this is something we're going to take care of in the next video. So now we're going to have a look at our login admin method inside of the login class. So copy the name, open the browser, we go to our classes, let's open the login one, and now we can close the browser. If we scroll down, we've got login front here, so right after this we can create login admin. So public static function login admin, we need ID and we need URL null by default. Okay, we can also actually assign null to ID to make sure that if ID isn't present, and we can do the same with the login front. So just quickly check if isn't empty ID, obviously then perform this check. Login front, okay, and we do the same obviously for our new method login admin. So now that we know that obviously ID is present, we can start working with our login admin method. So first of all, URL equals isn't empty URL, then we simply return URL. Otherwise, self dashboard underscore admin. So default page for after login, basically. Then session, we're creating self login admin equals ID, and then another one, session self valid underscore login equals 1. Okay, we have helper, redirect, and URL. So that's all fine. Now, one thing I just remind myself, when we were creating a logout method in a previous chapter, we've forgotten to actually remove this session as well. So let's copy its name. If we scroll down to our logout method, and obviously if the case is present, then together with the one which has been actually requested as a case, let's set this one to null as well, and then unset it. So we know that all of the sessions created during the logging have been removed as well, because obviously session destroy removes all of the sessions, so we don't have to really provide it there. Okay, so our login admin is now finished. So if we save this file, we can close login.php. We can save and close index.php as well. Let's go to our admin page. We can see our login screen. If we provide no information whatsoever, we obviously get our username and password were incorrect. If we put any information that aren't on the system, we get the same message. Obviously, if we go to our database, to the admins table, and click on browse, there's no record yet, so we need to create this record. So let's deal with this in the next video. Okay, so now it's time to obviously add the record to the database so that we can actually log in. To create the login, obviously, it's not going to be that easy because password cannot be just as a plain text, so we need to encode this password. So the easiest way to do it will be to use our index.php, which is our login page, and simply echo login string to hash. And here, in between the brackets and single quotes or double quotes, put your password, whatever you would like to use as your password. I'm going to simply use par w555 w0rd. Okay, if I save the file now, go to our browser, refresh, it's giving me the password. So it's a pretty long one, as you can see, after being hashed. So we copy this. Now we go to our database and click, once we are in admins table, click on insert tab. And now we start with Sebastian Sulinski. Email, let's use sebastian.sulinski@gmail.com, and our password. If we paste it here, click on go. Now the record has been added. If we go to the browser, you can see our password, everything's in. So now obviously make sure that you remove this line, save the file, go back, refresh. Okay, now it's gone. Obviously the email stays here, so I'm going to put this new password and hit enter. Now we are redirected to the products page. As you can see, it's blank because we obviously don't have this page yet. So let's move to the next video and start dealing actually with our products page. You might have realized that even though we're on a products page which doesn't exist, rather than seeing the error page, we see the blank page. And the reason why we don't see the error page is because this page doesn't exist either. So if we go back to our editor, and inside of the pages, rather than creating a new page, let's open our front pages folder, and let's copy our error.php page to our pages inside of the admin folder. Now if we open this folder, this file, you can see we have just the error. First thing, we obviously need to change the required ones, add template underscore header to it, same here. Okay, now if we save, now h1 tag should be page not found with the exclamation mark, and some content like the page you are trying to access does not exist or has been moved. and we can actually copy this content to our front end error as well. So if we open this one and paste it here, that should do for now. Okay, if we close both of the files, scroll up, and inside of the pages, if we create a new file, call it products.php, we start with the opening PHP tag and login, restrict, admin, and semicolon after this. Now, if we open our classes folder, and if we open our login class, we scroll right to the bottom. Actually, not right to the bottom. We're going to create this restrict admin right after restrict front. So a few new lines. And let's start with public static function restrict admin. Inside of this method, if isn't self is logged, and we're passing self underscore login underscore admin, then helper redirect, we're going to redirect to self underscore login page admin. Rather than cells, obviously self. It's going to work a little bit better, I guess. Okay, so that's our restrict admin method. So we can close our login file, and we're going to start working on the product section in the next chapter.